with B-Bad and Brandon.
Whoop. I feel like we've been here before.
Oh, look, that wasn't as good.
That was disappointing.
That was disappointing.
Just quietly.
We did need Kane in here as the fluffer.
Yeah.
Keep us up. Okay, so for everyone listening, we failed our first attempt at starting this, and here we go again. But welcome to episode 10 of the Platform Podcast. We are your host, Brandon Greco.
Jonny B-Bad.
Jonny B-Bad Nelson.
B-Bad.
And then to my left, we have the great and infamous Paul Peglar.
I like infamous.
Yeah.
Infamous works.
Yeah, it really suits you, doesn't
It is.
As I said
really
that,
good.
I was like,
yes.
I nailed that
You
intro.
were smart.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I think you're smart.
I think you're very smart. But before we start, Paul, you have... Now, this is going to be hard. He talks a lot.
Well, you're under. You have strict rules, requirements,
Yep.
and rules, and there's going to be people keeping you highly accountable.
Good.
Within the rules.
You said rules, requirements, and rules.
That's how important
Probably
that is.
how much I
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah,
I'm
he
not
needs-
going to lie. It is
and-
required.
You do
So
go out.
all you have is 21 words that I will attempt to count.
Oh,
Who you are and what do you do. Now, before you start, be aware, any word or sound that comes out of your mouth will be counted.
not a problem.
Starting in go.
Yeah. Disclaimer first before we start, which was always going to happen.
He's already-
Oh, fuck him. He can keep counting. I'm just going to keep talking, so it
This is
doesn't
what I mean,
matter.
like, it doesn't matter.
Right, well, I will do 21 words because I've been waiting for this and I've practiced and counted words. But my disclaimer is, as a proud Irishman, I feel insulted to be restricted to make any comment to just 21 words on anything.
For anyone listening, this is going to be the longest podcast we do. We'll be here till 7.
Yes, we will.
It'll be a long
But
21 words.
21 words. I consider myself the
He's just used to reading.
that's it, and that's 5. Maybe I should just say words until he counts me out, and then you're done.
And then we're done, and then you're like, you know what? I got to 21.
Okay.
Here's who I actually
Okay, we're definitely going to do it this time. We're starting.
Okay,
Right.
we'll start again.
Right. The mystery. Wrapped in enigma. And I'm lost. I'm gone now. I'm doing a little poly. See, this is it. I'm restrained. I can't be restrained.
Okay.
That's 5 very good words.
I was captivated. As soon as he said the mystery and the enigma, I'm like,
Yeah. He's in. No.
Okay.
He has
No.
sought this
I
out.
will say that I am what I would consider the person that you need me to be at the time you need me to be at.
Damn.
can you just drop that mic, even though it's really expensive? And
No.
that
Stop.
was... Okay, everyone who's been on the podcast before this, you suck.
Yeah,
Like,
sorry, Luke.
Wow. You know, someone said to me this week, they're like, you got to stop railing Luke. And I'm like, no.
We love him.
This is how we show love.
Absolutely.
Okay, that was the best intro, self-intro I have ever heard. Beyond that, what do you do for work?
So I am a qualified exercise physiologist, and I am a qualified sports therapist. So it's an interesting one because I was actually chatting to the guys this week about it and what do I do in sports therapy and physio. So I don't count myself as a physiotherapist. I don't call myself a physiotherapist. The reason being, the backstory behind it is, which is actually quite fucking interesting, is I did my first degree in London 17 years ago.
How old are you?
I am fucking older than both of you.
Ooh, maybe.
How old are you?
I am 41.
Oh, fuck, he's actually older than you.
On
Damn, someone
Sunday.
finally older than
Yeah,
me.
I'm 41 on Sunday.
Tomorrow?
No. Fucking next Sunday. What day are we today? Saturday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're a Pisces as well?
Sure.
Excellent.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, me too.
I'm very sensitive.
Are you?
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Wait, you're not sensitive. That doesn't make sense yet.
No, I am also
No.
very sensitive.
Apparently very sensitive, very in touch with our emotions. Yeah.
He only knows one emotion.
Yeah.
All in.
Yeah.
All in and small sandwiches.
Yeah. I must, at this point in our podcast, commend Jonny on his love of sandwiches.
Thank you.
Very much so. I, too, am a lover and a connoisseur of sandwiches.
I call it a lifestyle.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
So much so Now we're never going to tangent, so it's fine. I've talked to Brando and said we're not going to tangent. It'll be straight line, professional.
Watch how many times we digress off the topic here.
But we have to cover this. I feel
this
it is important enough
this
to
is
cover this
important.
at the
Absolutely.
beginning of the
100%.
show. Like my week starts on a Sunday. Yeah, when I go to the shops and I buy a loaf of bread.
Excellent.
And I will make the entire loaf of bread into sandwiches for me for the week, for lunch times or if I get a break. Because I don't really get breaks.
No,
I just
you don't
work straight
actually,
through.
you do.
So I make sandwiches and I will bring an entire loaf of bread of sandwiches and put it in the fridge or the freezer. And I will just eat them as I get 2 minutes to go.
That's perfect.
I am a huge believer in the sandwich.
What do you put in there?
Yeah, I was just...
So I'm
here we go. Look at the pattern.
We've got to go. So butter first.
Absolutely.
Because it'll be fresh bread and it's got to be uncut. They fucking slice bread way too thin in this country. Thick.
So you cut it yourself?
Yeah, damn straight.
Just disclaimer as well. Paul's actually a chef as well.
What?
Oh, we'll get to that.
Yeah, bro. Like I found that out only a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, sorry, what? Why don't I live with you?
Yeah, we'll get to that. So you got to cut the bread yourself because this doorstop is where it's at.
Yeah.
Fresh bread doorstop. So butter, and then one side a lot of pickle, a lot of spreadable pickle, like Branson pickle, something like that. The other side mayonnaise.
Yes.
Okay.
2 condiments. Smart.
100%. Then lettuce. And then you've got to go with a meat. There's always 2 meats on it, not one. You gotta have 2 meats.
Yes.
Yes, you do. So it goes a layer of meat, and then I will put tomato or maybe gherkin, something like that under. Because you got to get all of like the sharp, the salty. You gotta get the whole flavors in there. Then you go cheese.
Yeah. What
Then
kind
you
of cheese?
go,
What kind of cheese?
Oh, see, depends. It depends on the meat you're getting. So sometimes you go like a soft cheese. Generally, I'll go like a mature cheese.
Yep.
Something that's harder. Then you go your second meat.
Yep.
Yeah. And then second slice of bread, done.
I like how you got the wet items in the middle, so you're not ruining the bread.
100%.
Absolutely.
That's the secret to a good sandwich.
I mean, it's amateur otherwise.
Absolutely.
What's your go-to meat?
See, I'm a big fan of like a salami.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
like
love
a mild salami, and then you know what I'm into at the moment, which is fantastic, is like a seasoned roast pork.
Ooh, that's
Spectacular.
Do you season it yourself, or you just
No,
get
I don't have time. I just buy it. Let's be honest. It's amazing. It's fantastic. You should try it. It's great.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. Can you make us sandwiches?
Damn.
I could.
You could.
Maybe one day.
So you'd be doing at least two a day, maybe? 3 a day?
Yeah. At
Easy.
least. Yeah. So I'll
like
get
that.
a loaf, 2 loaves of bread, cut them all up on a Sunday, make them, prep them, done.
Done.
Yeah. Huge respect for your
Absolutely. It's a lifestyle.
sandwich. I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Like, and can I say at this point as well, I feel sorry for you having to deal with Brando and his continuous shit that he gives you about this. You know,
Thank you.
some
Somebody who
people
understands.
just don't understand.
Absolutely.
Just want to point out,
heathen.
I have had 4 sandwiches already today, and I've got 2 more
Don't
to go.
fucking show off, mate.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Don't try to make it up now.
It's not about you.
That's it. Don't make it up, mate.
Oh, that was probably the best segment we will ever have.
So anyway, we were
And the
talking-
most important one.
Yeah,
probably
well,
ever
I
had.
agree. I mean, I felt at the beginning, so everything else now can just come next.
Yeah, but I feel like we've peaked
Most
early. Let's get Kane and Fluffer.
yeah, this is true. Oh, look, absolutely. And then we go from there.
Yeah.
But look, you've the reality of this podcast, it was never going to go in a straight line.
It was never. I knew this from the start.
Yeah. I mean, you've been in one of my courses.
Oh, they're
So
hilarious.
I have a course that I run courses, continued education courses for like physios, ex-phys, so on, so on. So I have a knee course that's got, I think it's got 54 slides to this course. It's a full day course. It's 8 hours. The last time I ran the course, by about an hour left, so 7 hours in, I had got to slide 5.
It's amazing though.
Now, in my defense, I did at the end of it for the last hour, kind of flick through them and going, yeah, cover that, that looked good. Yeah, we did that, that's fine. it's hilarious.
Jonny literally asked me before this podcast, what's the game plan? I was like, oh no, we're just going to let Paul talk.
Yeah, anyway.
That's it.
So, I digress.
We
Funnily
digress.
enough.
Number 1. Actually, we went twice there because you started talking about the course as well.
So back to me, what I do. So the sports therapy. So I don't class myself as a physio sports therapist. First degree I did was in London. So the story goes behind the course. I was my cohort was the third year ever to graduate this course.
Cool.
It was an entirely new course, brand new. So where it came from was England being shit at sport, like legitimately. Sports minister at the time, and we're talking late 90s when they put this course together.
Yeah, right.
Sports minister at the time had this they did a review, very similar to what the AIS did a couple of years ago after London Olympics, not the last one.
Yeah.
So they reviewed it because England were fucked. Like they had their worst showing at an Olympics, they had their worst showing at a Com Games. They didn't qualify. England's soccer team, which is unheard of, didn't qualify for like knockout stages of a World Cup. There was a period of about 4 years where just English sport was fucked, just shit. So they did this huge review, and what they found was they had the cattle in the paddocks. They had the athletes. They just didn't have the trained staff. Because the AIS had stolen most of them to come out here. And it's true, like we studied the AIS. The AIS, on a tangent, the AIS is very disappointing. It actually, it's sad to see the state of it now versus where it was.
Yeah.
The AIS was the number one sporting organization in the world when I was at university.
Wow.
Everyone looked at it as the way for a country to set up a national development program. So even America, England, everyone were looking at the AIS and how they developed and what they that kind of athlete identification and what they worked on. It was amazing. Now it's just it's disbanded essentially. It's shit. It just didn't move with the times. England's success at London was down to the fact that they stole the blueprint from Australia. They legitimately looked at the AIS and said, this is how they did it. This is why they're so good. I mean, you got to look at Australia. Like, there's 22 million people here.
Yeah.
Like, you're fucking nothing compared to the world, the big players in sport globally. Like you look at London. Like London's got 15 million just in London.
Yeah.
You know, America's got 256 million. Blah 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 blah. You know, Russia, China. There is no way that Australia should compete on a stage that it competes at.
Yeah.
And what I love about Australia is they really believe they should be number one in all of them.
Yeah, we do.
Rugby, you name it. Like, why aren't we fucking winning this? Like, we should win the Soccer World Cup, the Rugby World Cup, the NRL World Cup. We should be fucking
Table
winning.
tennis.
We should be coming at least third in the gold medal counts in the Olympics, purely because we don't have enough people to send. If we had more people to send, then we should fucking come. I love it. I love the mentality of going, why aren't we winning fucking everything? It's brilliant. But for a time they were, and everyone like looked at them and like, this is the blueprint. This is the way we develop athletes. So what happened? So when England did this review, they were like, it's background stuff. We don't have background stuff. So they approached the Great Britain Physiotherapy Board, the APA equivalent over here, the Australian Physio Association, and they said, we need something to develop to work background. So what the physio board at the time did is they took the physiotherapy degree that they had and they basically put it into a chop shop. They just cut it up. Yeah. So they removed things that they felt weren't needed to work with athletes. So pediatrics and geriatrics were removed. So there was no hospital-based rotations. We didn't do any hospital work because they're like, you're not going to fucking deal with a 12-month-old elite athlete or a 65-year-old emphysemic elite athlete. Like they're like, you don't need it, gone. So they just chopped the degree and they cut it down to about 60, 70%. So they removed probably about, 30, 40% of the degree. So now they've only got fucking 70% of the degree. And what they did is they filled it with the sports science side of it. So they went to the exercise physiology equivalent and they stole all of the, well, they didn't steal obviously, but they took out of that the science behind the physiology, the muscle development, the aerobic systems, the anaerobic systems. How does it work? How does it develop? They went to the sports science and they ripped out all of the testing protocols. How do you test athletes, wing gaits and anaerobic testing and lactate threshold work and stuff like that. And which was really cool as well. They then went to psych and they went to the psych department and they ripped out all of the sports psychology. So we did like 4 modules of psychology throughout. So we went in with the psych department.
Cool.
So we did like basic psych, advanced psych, and then sports psych modules. And then they took the nutrition as well. They chucked us in with nutritionists. So we went in every year. We would do a module with the nutrition department. So so they filled the course with that. And so the idea is we were meant to be, or we are, developed as a profession to deal with athletes. 100% purely designed to work with athletes, to get the best out of them, to treat them, because they kept all the physio side of it. They kept all of the assessments and the diagnostic tools and the manual therapies and all of that stuff. They just fucking got rid of the old people and the young people.
Did they still call it physiotherapy?
No. That's where it became sports therapy.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't say, I'm a physio.
Yeah.
Because it's different. I've never I've never done the hospital rotations. I've never done peds or Jerry's. So, and the idea is you work purely with athletes to get the best out of them. So I was like, I was the third ever graduate of that degree, which was cool. So, and it was awesome. Like, it was full on. Like, fuck, there was pressure doing it because it was a new degree. You'd have we had the best of the best lecturing us. Like, I had the head physiotherapist for Glasgow Rangers as one of my lecturers. I had the psychologist working with English rugby. I had the head physiotherapist for the second Premiership club, like English Premiership club. Like, these were all still working. They were all there, and they'd come and lecture. We had Olympic head physios. We had doctors and things like that, and they'd run our lectures. And you'd be sitting there going, I don't fucking know anything. And what was great is you had them all in one room. And it was like, and the problem was they all had friends of friends. Like, I remember one exam, which was, so they used to get external lecturers in, external peers to come in and do assessments and stuff. So in my final year, I had to do a lecture on my final year thesis, my project, and I learned never do a project on something you're passionate about. It's a dumb idea because the fucking rabbit hole is deep. Just fucking. So anyway, so I did this, and it was unheard of to ever have the same person twice. It was never going to happen. So I turned up, and I've done this 45-minute lecture and it was on neural problems. It was causes, effect, diagnosis of acute brachial-plexal neural injuries in contact sport. It was just a ridiculous thing to do. Don't do that. Too big. Too much of a fucking rabbit hole.
That's a lot of words.
Yeah. Oh, that's it.
Way too many words.
And the funny thing is, like, academia was not me. Like, I fucking...
You're dyslexic?
Completely dyslexic. I apparently read and write at like a 12-year-old's level. It is hilarious. I will one day send you an email directly from... Nothing leaves my office that hasn't been written by one of my admin team or by one of my clinicians.
You told me the story of going through high school.
Yeah. So I went through high school completely dyslexic, totally, and not knowing, because Ireland at the time didn't recognise it as a thing.
It wouldn't have been a thing
just
back
not
then.
A thing.
Yeah.
It was 100% he's either really smart, just really lazy, or he tries really hard, he just doesn't have it. And I used to get out, he's just dumb. Like, they turn around, like, fuck, I remember. And this is me, and I think I'm just stubborn. I'm just fucking that person. So I was in high school. So to get into university to do this course, I had to get certain grades, and it was fucking A's and B's. So I had to get I think it was 3 A's and 2 B's or 4 A's and a B, something fucking ridiculous like this to get in to qualify for this course. Now, at the time, so Ireland's education was a little bit different to over here. Nothing mattered in Ireland until you did your exams. Do you know what I mean? So you did year 10, 11, 12. In Ireland, it's years 4, 5, and 6. And you covered nothing in terms of exams. There was no continued education. There was no coursework. There was no addition. It was you did 3 years of study, and at the end of those 3 years of study, you had 3 weeks of exams, 2 exams a day, 3 hours an exam, and that was it. Fuck. That was your grades. That's what got you into university. Oh yeah, 100%. Nothing else mattered. Nothing else counted. It was fucking. But it was the best. It was the greatest thing and the worst thing for someone like me, because I was shit at school. So I failed everything. So 4 months before these exams, we did mock exams, pre-exams. And I did all of them. So on the subjects that I needed to get A's and B's, I consistently got 20%. Just fucking nutty. Like 100% shit. Like I didn't just fail. Like I failed well. You know, I like to think of myself when I do shit, I do it well. Yeah. And I failed exceptionally well.
Wow.
So what we did was, so I remember my parents being called into a meeting and a couple of teachers going, look, he's just not that smart. He's just not that bright. He should drop down to foundation levels. He needs to just go away. Like this is dumb. So I had a look and my parents turned around to me and said, look, what are you going to do? This is a reality. And I was like, no, this is what I want to do. And they're like, well, if this is what you want to do, then you got to pull your finger out. So in a 4-month period of time, I was like, fuck them. I'm going to do it then. Just to kind of prove them wrong. Just because I'm stubborn. So in 4 months, I went from getting like 20% to getting A's in these subjects.
Damn.
I was like, right, fuck it. I'll just study then. Like I'm terrible at it. So I went to university. Just to give you an idea of my love of academia, and this people will just shake their heads at this. Like I'm not good at study. I'm not good at reading. I'm not good at writing thanks to the dyslexia. So the problem is here I am going, I gotta go to university. I owned my first textbook. So the first textbook I owned at university was in my final year. 4 years in.
What?
Yeah, I'm hearing this.
Yeah. 4 years in, that was it. Like I drove my lecturers mad. I used to get pulled up all of the time going, you could be so good at this. Like you could go and you could do masters. Like your way of looking at things is just awesome. It's different. Like you should really apply yourself. And I'm like, nah. But a lot of it came because of dyslexia, because I didn't know I was dyslexic.
So it still wasn't identified.
It just still wasn't identified. It was my second year of university before it was actually identified. And it's a funny story actually how it was picked up, because I had a lecturer call me in to his office. I've told this story before. I had a lecturer call me into his office and he goes, oh, Paul, I've just read your coursework. And I was like, he says, it's brilliant. Loved it. Loved where you're coming from. Loved where you're thinking about. You know, it's a really interesting take you've taken on it. You know, it's good. I was like, great. So, A. He's like, fuck no. And those were his words, which I found hilarious. Like, fuck no. And I'm like, he goes, no. He said it was terrible. I said, I couldn't fucking read it. Like, I could not, because you gotta remember, as I was saying at the beginning, like, these guys are still working. These are physios for, like, the top. Like, these aren't academics. These aren't professors who have, you know, spent 40 years. Like, he's like, yeah, I couldn't read it. He goes, 100%. He said, it looks like a 12-year-old's written this. He says, if I gave this to somebody who didn't know the content of this course, they would have said, why have you given me a fucking 12-year-old's piece of work? This is terrible. So I'm looking at him like, it's a tear in the eye. Like that cut
I really
deep.
tried.
I'm like, that one hit the soul. That one cut deep. Why are you so mean? And he was like, no, I don't mean it that way. He goes, I think there's legitimately a problem. And I was like, okay. So he sent me off to a friend of his who's a psychologist at the university. And so they did all the testing. Yeah. And they did all the testing and they had a look at it. And it's interesting how they do it. Because they do, well, I don't know if they do it the same nowadays. I mean, this is fucking 20 years ago. But how they do it with me is they do a whole lot of this kind of psychometric testing, and they do a whole lot of this kind of IQ testing. So they would do like these written writing IQs, and it'd be literally just questions, fill these in, just like normal IQs you'll pick up from wherever, and then it'd be comprehension stuff. She'd call out a paragraph, I'd write the paragraph, and I legitimately was like, yeah, it's fucking easy. She holds it up, and most of it's missing. Like it was like there'd be like 2 lines, and then I'd miss like 4 lines of what she was saying and then start again, just mid-sentence. It's fucking ridiculous. But then they do a whole load of other stuff where they'll kind of go, it's a bit more like deductive reasoning. So you go, okay, we're going to show one of the exercises is show you a picture, and they go, right, tell me what's wrong with the picture. So there's one thing wrong with the picture, pick what's wrong with the picture. So for example, I remember one of them was she's walking around and she shows a picture, and there's a guy on the beach walking his dog on the beach. So guy's holding out his hand where the lead, dog's walking his arm on the lead, but there was no dog lead. So you'd go, oh, dog lead's missing. So they timed how quickly you picked it. And I was off the scale. I was picking them as she was like turning the cards. So I was doing it so quick she couldn't actually time it. She was literally going, that's missing. That's not there. She's like, I don't have a score for you on this test because it's off the chart. It's off the score. So it turned out, so in my reading, writing IQ, I'm like below average. It's like, you're a little bit slow. Like legitimately, I think I was like, like 50% average, like I was like 48%. Like I was just below average IQ based on reading, writing. But then when they went to the deductive reasoning IQ, I've like scored in the top 5% IQ of Great Britain. She's like, you're like genius level IQ, but according to this, you're just dumb as dog shit. Like, so that's how they did it. So they were like, yeah, you're dyslexic. So that's how what it came from. So my interesting journey with academia kind of came from that, because I spent so long just hating, because it's really hard as a dyslexic. I guess the easiest way to explain it is you're super frustrated all the time because you know you're intelligent, but every single exam and every single test you do says you're not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That'd be horrible.
So you kind of sit there going, listen, you need to get Kane in for the fluffer. Yeah. My mic is drooping.
Just got to touch it a bit more.
That's right. I'm pretty loud. I reckon he's picking me up anyway.
Are you still picking this up, Niall?
No, we're good.
Niall?
I know.
Well, we'll say we are.
No, you're fired.
Yeah, we'll say he is. But that was it. So because of that, like I went through all of high school. I just didn't have a love affair with academia. So then I got into university, and I was like, just pure fucking stubbornness. I was like, I want the piece of paper because I want to do this degree.
Yeah.
I don't really care how I do it. I don't really care what I come out with. I just want the piece of paper because I know once I get out, I'll do it my way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I just drove these lecturers fucking
Did you get any assistance or help once they identified?
After they diagnosed it kind of middle of my second year, then yeah. But as I talked to the psychologist, she was like, it's hard when you're diagnosed later because you've ingrained coping mechanisms. Do you know what I mean? So it's very hard to teach you a way to learn, and it's very hard to teach you a kind of a way to develop that, because realistically you've got fucking another year and a half worth of study and you're out. So I got extra assistance in terms of you get extra time at exams to just fucking read your work and make sure it's not a dog's breakfast and stuff like that. But and that was fine. But that was the thing, like it didn't bother me. I have to say, like, and now to this day, like I consider the dyslexia probably my strongest trait. Do you know what I mean? Like the way the brain works and the way it just shit makes sense to me. Like the way the psychologist explained it to me, it was like most people read top to bottom, left to right. Do you know what I mean? So until I get to the bottom of the page and have all the information, I can't make an informed decision. Does that make sense? So that's how the average person learns. They've got to take all of the information bit by bit and accumulate it and add it up. So it's a slow process. And if it's a big piece of paper, then there's the risk of you missing stuff and misinterpreting it. But with the dyslexic brain, the way she explained it to me, it's a bit like when you look at a documentary, like a car documentary, and they get a car engine, and they get this computer graphic of the car, and they like explode out the engine. So fucking everything is all at once there in exactly where it should fit. So you have that ability of just taking all of the information all at once in context, as opposed to having to take bits and pieces, drips and drabs. So I've found it's probably my best trait. And like you've seen it, in the clinic, and this is where people are like, oh, how'd you come up with this? It just shit makes sense. People will come in and going, oh, I did this and I did this and this happened, and so there's random information, but I just have that ability to put it into context.
And that's why I think...
And link.
Like, your methods are very different. Like, the way you do things is... Like, he'll be treating someone, he'll be running through someone, something.
He'll start humming.
Yeah, he'll start humming. Like,
apparently that's my
he doesn't know he does it. Like, he'll literally be treating me and then just be like, do-do-do. And I'm like, The fuck? And
Singing me a sweet something.
I was trying to serenade him, just calm him down.
I hate needles, but that's the thing. You have such a unique way, but that never would have been developed without the dyslexia.
100%. Oh, it's my best trait. And I say this regularly. It is the reason why I am where I am. It's a shit show to get to here. It's hard at school. It's hard at university. The way the whole academic setup is not designed to be conducive to somebody who's dyslexic. It's a bit like fucking you guys out on the floor. You just gotta fucking grit down, sort your shit out, and keep going. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just gotta get through it. And that was it. That was me in university. I was like, I don't care. I just need a piece of paper. That's all I need. You know what I mean? And after that, I'll sort everything else out. Yeah. So it was a fucking interesting. But as I said, I did my fucking lecturers' heads in. They're like, just apply yourself. I'm like, no, like, and this is it. Like, they used to go fucking mad. Like, one of them was like, why the fuck do you only ever get like 60%? You just pass. Why do you only ever just pass? Like, if you just fucking did just an hour more study, you'd get more. And it turns out that apparently one of the traits of dyslexics is they have an exceptionally good long-term memory. It's almost like an idyllic or photographic memory for kind of listening and situations. And so that's what I was doing. I was rocking up to lectures, sitting there, listening to old mate. 3 months later, going into the exam, hadn't opened a book, and I was like, I remember him saying something about this. But the problem was, they only ever taught 60% of the material in the lecture. Yeah,
that's why you get 60%.
Oh, yeah. Look, as I got older, I obviously understand significantly more now the importance of research. So I reckon I have studied, done courses, researched off my own back, read more, probably in the years since leaving university that I ever came close to at university. Ever. You know what I mean? But I'm also stubborn as fuck, because you told me to do it. I'm like, nah. Because you told me, I'm like, nah.
I don't wanna.
I don't wanna. So it was, yeah. It was an interesting journey. And then so that physio, that exam that I was doing. So I've done this coursework. I've fucking handed out, and we had the, I think it was the head physio for Arsenal. So the Premiership team was like the peer reviewer. So I'm doing this neural presentation, and I fucking put everything into it, and I'm throwing it out there, and I'm like, done. I never have to think about it again. Yeah. Move on.
We're done.
Yeah. Week later, I'm doing one of the PRAC exams. So it's a peripheral joint MOB manual therapy exam, and I rock up for the exam, and there he is. Fuck. But I'm like, it's fine. Go in. So they did them. They were like vivas. So what used to happen is you walked into a room. They'd have 30 envelopes on a bed, and you just picked an envelope, random envelope. So all of the case studies in the envelopes were relating to the exam, obviously, but it could be an ankle, a knee, a fucking elbow, a wrist, whatever. So fucking grab this envelope, open the envelope. And it's this fucking 22-year-old, it's a case study on a 22-year-old rugby player who got spear tackled, landed on his head, and has pins and needles and numbness down his hand. So it's pretty much exactly what I just talked about a week ago. So this fucking guy, the examiner who was in that lecture, turns around and he goes, I really enjoyed your lecture last week and what you were talking about. It was really informative. This will be brilliant. Well, we can talk more about it. My head's going, man, I've fucking forgotten that. That's gone. I don't even remember you being there, let alone us. And he proceeded to just like hammer me for the whole exam, going, what do you think? And he goes, I know this isn't part of the exam, but what do you feel progressing onto this? Like, come on, fuck you, this is shit. Yeah, that was, I can't remember where we started with that. I'm going to throw back to you, Brando.
That was literally about how you got into your degree. But for Niall.
Yeah, that's me.
Niall, can you fix his mic? It's droopy.
It's droopy.
Get K.
What do we do?
How do we less droopy?
Well done, Niall.
But now just,
There we go.
Is that all right?
See, now it's
good.
stiff again.
There we go. You're a good fluffer.
Yeah.
You might want to edit that out.
That's staying. So did you start work straight out of uni?
No.
When did you actually... Because you were working in a club or pub at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
You're being a chef.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I mean.
So it's interesting. It's interesting the whole story and that with it. Like, I think it's important. Like, on that, like you look at people and it's like, I want to be here, and you'll see it. I want to be here, and then shit doesn't go south, and they're like fucking so like my goal. Like it's important to see where you want to go, but you've also got to realize that where you are now does not necessarily mean where you're going to be. You just where you are right now is kind of where you need to be. Right now,
you're exactly in the space you need to be right
100%. Like I've talked to my guys at the clinic, and I've talked to prac students, and they stress out about fucking, I'm gonna graduate and then I'm gonna buy a house in 4 years and I'm gonna fucking be here, and they're like, oh, I'm stressed because I haven't achieved where I need to be now, so that in 4 years' time I need to be. And like I had a chat with one of my guys recently, and they were like that. They're like, I just feel, I'm not where I should be. And they're 25 or 24. You know what I mean? And like, oh, what do I need to do? And I was like, do you know what I was doing when I was 24? And they're like, you know what? I was drunk. And they go, what do you mean? I was like, I was a pisshead. I finished university, right, and was stressed out about uni, and was a bit broken by the whole academic going through it. And I just had a really negative feel towards it. So I graduated and turned my back completely on it, 100%. As you said, I worked in a pub. I ran a pub. It was the greatest. But what's interesting, it was the greatest decision that I've ever made. 100%, without doubt. Purely because that's where I met Claudia. That's where I met my wife. In the pub. It was like a fucking Hollywood movie. You couldn't write the script. She was a poor Aussie backpacker working in a pub. I was a poor uni student just finishing uni working in a pub, and the next is fucking Hollywood magic.
And when did you throw the knife at her?
Oh, see, it's a debatable question as to whether I threw the knife at her or I just threw a knife. I am not a DV candidate.
No, but I have heard you are the Gordon Ramsay, the Irish Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, I am known to be passionate in the kitchen. I am known to be, have a strong will when working in the kitchen. So I was working in the kitchen at the time, chefing at the time. And for anyone out there who's ever worked in a kitchen listening to this, you're going to sit there nodding and go, my friend, I've got you. I understand, bro. It was fucking 10 minutes to the kitchen closing. Like, the 10 minutes left, the kitchen was closed, no more orders. The fucking kitchen was beautiful. It was broken down, it had been scrubbed, it had been clean. We hadn't had a food order in half an hour. The lunch rush was done, everything was great. Like, I was ready, and it was fucking 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we're out the door, this is good. Order comes in. And not just a fucking, like a full order, like a starters and main courses and fucking, you name it as well. Everything from fucking steak to this. And like, just 5 minutes before the kitchen closed. So, the knife story comes from, she didn't come into the kitchen. Just poked her head around the door to go, hey, just so you know, there's a food order coming in. To which point I may have been prepping for the next service and gone, fuck's sake, and thrown the knife into the sink. It just so happened she was present when I threw the knife in the sink. So I love my wife dearly, and she's going to listen to this. So I love you really dearly. I have never once thrown anything, shouted at, or done any. She just was in the vicinity when the passion for my job took hold of me.
Claudia, if you're listening, can we do an episode with you? I want to hear your side story.
So yeah, no, but that was it. I turned my back 100% on the whole thing. I still did work. My love for sport, my love for athletes never changed. You
played
broken.
Every sport pretty much.
Yeah. I was just broken mentally by the journey of going through university. You know what I mean? And I think it wasn't just the journey of going through uni. It was high school to uni. Like we're now 20 odd 2, 3, 4, whatever it was, years of academia, of going through uni, going, I know I'm smart, but I appear to be dumb.
Yeah.
Like that takes your toll. Like it takes a certain amount of grunt to just keep pushing through when everyone goes, mate, you're just not that good. You just calm down. Maybe you should give it up. Maybe you should do something else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I finished uni and I had enough. I just needed to just walk away from it. So yeah, I was working in a pub, and so Claudia was backpacking, and her visa ran out. So she was like, off you go.
Uh-oh.
So England were like, yeah. Britain were like, look, you gotta go. She was, 2.5 years over here as it was, so she was ready to come back. Like she was born in Moments in New South Wales, but had lived in Brisbane all her life. 24 degrees in the height of winter, still sunny skies. She's been 2.5 years in London. Now, my wife, when you meet her, does not do cold. Like we talk under 20 degrees, and she won't leave the house. Like it is. I remember taking her home for the first time ever to Ireland, right? And it was summer because I knew not to take her in winter because she doesn't do single digits. And it was middle of summer, and it was like 24 degrees. Now, 24 degrees in Ireland, and you can look this up, is considered a heat wave if it lasts longer than 3 days. No, look it up. If you've got a phone, you look up what was the last heat wave in Ireland. And they'll be like, it was a fucking 2-week stretch of 24 degrees.
Damn, I need a jumper at 24.
Oh, well, this was the point. So we're walking around my hometown, which is fucking 5k past bumfuck, I don't know, in the middle of rural Ireland. And you've got guys walking around in shorts and no shirt. Like the sun has come out. That strange yellow thing in the sky, which is still panic and fear. Because it's lasted more than 3 days. We've come to terms and accepted it.
Ireland's heat wave looks set to last 2 weeks. Temperatures hitting on average mid to high 20s and could touch 30 degrees.
Damn.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a cold winter.
This is it, right? So we're walking on. There's guys in shorts, no shirt on, fucking sun baking. My wife, knee-high boots, tights, jeans, t-shirt, singlet, t-shirt, jumper, jacket, beanie. The 100%. That is what she was wearing.
And still cold?
And still cold.
And you're just there, pair of shorts, I'm good.
Pair of shorts. But this is, I can't deal with the heat. 16 years I've lived here now, and the heat just gets me every time. Like, I remember when I first got here, people would look at me crazy. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, middle of winter. I'm outside on the deck in like my jocks, nothing else, just fucking the neighbours looking at me funny, cup of coffee, just going, isn't this just beautiful? Like, this is the greatest thing in the world.
We need to put you
we get a photo of that?
You and Kane in the same room when it's hot and just watch you both melt down.
Oh, melt. I hate it. I can't stand it. So we worked in the pub. I turned my back on everything. I worked, as I said, I loved the athletes and the sport. I never lost my passion for. I was just a mentally broken man from uni. So I worked with some rugby teams and I worked with some athletes, but I was working the pub, just taking time. And so Claudia was like, right, you need to go. And so I was like, come with her. Like, what else am I going to do? I'm in the middle of London. I had 7 years in London. I left Ireland when I was 17, turning 18. Never been out of Ireland. Just to put into context, my hometown, the biggest building is like 3 to 4 stories high. That's it. There's like nothing else. It's, as I said, it's in rural Ireland. Skibbereen for those who are playing at home. And to show you kind of contrast between Skibbereen and London, I knew 2 black people my entire life growing up in Ireland, and they were 2 brothers. That was it. They were the only black people I'd ever seen in my life, ever. Actually, I lied. They were the only non-Caucasian, different race people I'd ever come across. And then here I am in London, just going, what the fuck? Yeah, I remember my old man, the last thing my old man said to me when he left, so he came over for the weekend, dropped me off on the Monday morning, left me at university, and he was like, okay, son, you'll be fine. Just let us know if you need us. 2 bits of advice. Don't get arrested. Don't end up in the tabloids. If you do that, you'll be fine. And he left.
Strong advice.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I felt. Yeah, 100%. I abided by one, and we're not going to talk about which one.
Google.
Oh man, like that's off air. We'll have a long conversation about
Yeah.
Paul's fun.
But that was it. So here I was, just in London, and it was amazing. But I had nothing else to do. So Claudia was coming back, and I was like, well, why not? I was kind of disillusioned where I was. I was a bit mentally broken, and this ties on to kind of like, where are you and where should I be? It's like, fuck, I didn't know where I should have been then. I don't even know where I should be now. Like, it's fluent. You just kind of run with it. So she came home. So I was like, all right, I'll just get rid of all my stuff and I'll come with you. So I legitimately sold or let. There is a flat, well, it's probably not there anymore, but there would have been a flat in London that if you turned the key and walked in was fully kitted out with furniture and clothes and computer. I just walked out. I was like, yeah, we're done. Close the door and leave.
Didn't sell it, just walked out.
Just left it. Didn't sell it. Just seemed too hard. This intraweb thing was confusing. I legitimately just left it. So I arrived in Brisbane on the fucking 2nd of November.
Was that warm for you?
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about the spatula ratings later. But, so I've arrived with nothing but a backpack. I owned nothing in the world. Only what was in this backpack after traveling for 3.5 months through kind of India, Asia, and things like that.
Oh, so you left London, went India, Asia.
Yeah, so we left London, and there's so many ironies in my life when I look back on it. So for one, I have the worst sense of direction you've ever come across in your
You
life.
can't even get to work without it.
No. When I bought my car, and you know where people are like, I want a car and it's got to have these specs and it's got to have this power to weight ratio. The top thing on my list is it has to have built-in GPS. I swear to God that these car dealers must have thought I was taking the piss, because this has got it's a V8 and da 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 da. I was like, no, it doesn't have built-in GPS. Going, but you can buy it. I was like, no, I need built-in GPS. So I just didn't buy a car if it didn't have it in it. I have no fucking sense of direction, and my wife isn't great either. And both of us are the worst decision makers you've ever come across. Like, we will literally go, what do you want to do? Oh, I don't know. What do you fancy? I really don't know. Should we? What do you want? Oh, I don't know. We'll go hours. Going, do you want to do this? Oh, maybe. What else is there? Oh, I could do this. Yeah, that also sounds good. Without anyone making a decision. So the logical decision for us to do to come to Australia was to go to arrive in Dubai. So all we had organised is we had a flight that landed in Dubai and left Dubai 8 days later. Landed in India. 3 weeks later, flew out of India to Sri Lanka. 2 weeks later, flew out of Sri Lanka to Bangkok. And then we had 10 weeks to get from Bangkok to Singapore. That was all that was organised on our entire trip. We didn't have hotels booked. We didn't have trips booked. We didn't have guided tours. We had nothing. We literally arrived in Dubai with just the next plane ticket, the next follow-on plane ticket. And we didn't even have those printed off. Each place we had to print off the next flight and that was it. All we had when we arrived in these countries was a Lonely Planet. Fucking nothing else. 2 people with the worst sense of direction and no ability to make a decision. And here we are going, we have 4 months to get from here to there. What do we do? And we got fucking lost. Continuously lost. Fuck. Oh, yeah. Dubai was an interesting one. We traveled via Dubai. I don't know where we ended up. All I know is when we were on our way back to Dubai, because we didn't end up in Dubai, we got a 2-hour taxi drive down the freeway from wherever the hell we ended up, because we just jumped on buses. We're like, oh, that looks like it's going where we need to go. 2-hour taxi drive on the way back that passed. Now, I'm not saying we were here, but that passed the Kuwait International Hospital. Now, bearing in mind, this was in early 2000s. So I'm pretty sure that the Iraq war was still going on at that stage. So 2 fucking white people driving past the Kuwait was not a white in some Muslim person's fucking taxi. Wow. Oh, we were shit. Like, we were the worst travelers you've ever come across.
So you spend 4 months abroad. You land in Brisbane, 2nd November.
Yeah. Hot.
Hot?
Very hot.
Sweating as soon as you step on the plane?
Sweating. The chafe was real.
I think you and Kane are brothers.
Yeah.
What's next? You come to Australia, you got nothing.
So
How did you end up?
When I talk about my career and where I am now, and this is why I 100% kind of put total credit to Claudia. Not to me, because I'm fucking useless at making decisions on shit. But so we've come to Australia, and so I'm on a working holiday visa, so I can't do anything. You know, your restrictions. I can't get registrations. I can't get anything like that. So so she's like, okay, we need to get some work. So I was like, well, what do I do? So Good Life, right at the beginnings, we're there. So I ended up working at Good Life Holland Park when it opened as an MC.
As a membership consultant?
Just selling memberships.
Yeah, you did?
Yes, I did.
That's a very qualified...
When Holland Park opened. So it just opened. And this is more ironies. The irony of life is I now go to that gym because I live about 300 meters from it. And I set it up. It's fucking awesome. But yeah, so I worked there because I was like, you know, what else are you going to do? And to be honest with you, I was still in the mind frame of I want to work with athletes and I want to work with people. But it's a bit like overtraining. It's a bit like psychological overtraining. When you've mentally broken to something, just that drive to do it, just, you know, you just fucking get anxiety to it. And that was the problem. So I worked at Good Life as an MC, and quite quickly they were like, actually, you fucking know what you're doing. Do you want to run the clubs? So I ended up managing a couple of the Good Lives.
Which ones?
I started managing at Hyperdome, and then I ended up managing Ashgrove, and then did a bit of dual stuff with Bard and Ashgrove, which is why I'm always on the north side. Because people go to me, you fucking live south side, why do you work north side? Because I was managing the Ashgrove gym, and I'm still in my years working holiday visa. I haven't had my residency stuff through yet, and it came through while I was managing. And when my residency came through, I was like, right, now I need to do something. I don't want to run gyms. So the national PT manager at the time turned around to me and he was like, would you be interested in developing a course? There was a private PT college that they were setting up. He was like, would you be interested? And I was like, yeah. Hence another irony in life. I hate academia.
and you're writing a course.
Writing and being the main lecturer at this college. But I do credit that step, which was completely unintentional, as being the start of me getting to this. Because being able to teach how I wanted to teach and write the course how I felt it needed to be done helped me get over that mental block that I had to my own degree. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I got in, I wrote this course, and it was fucking hilarious. Like 2-3 textbooks. I read 2 or 3 textbooks, summarized them, broke them down, put them into courses. I wrote a 12-week, and this is where it's interesting, and we could just fucking go down a rabbit hole when it comes to PT courses. I was listening to Scott when he was talking about his once weekend every 4 months. Yeah, my course that I wrote was 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, for 12 weeks straight to get the qualification.
Wow.
Because I wrote and I was like, no, this is what, if you want PTs, this is what you want. And we actually got feedback from Fitness Australia that we had to cut the course down and to simplify it. Because I made them sit exams. They had to sit a written exam after every module. So every week, they had to sit an actual 2-hour written exam on the module we covered that week.
Yeah, but that's your problem. You submitted it to Fitness Australia.
Yeah, well, you had to get registered. So to get your qualification, you had to do a 2-hour exam for every module we covered, plus you had to submit like a 3,000 word coursework to me. Like it was huge dossiers of people before I'd pass you, before I'd give you qualification. So Fitness Australia got onto us and they were like, no. So first they made us dumb down the exams to multiple choice. Because this wasn't multiple choice. This was literally, I would ask a question and expect a paragraph of an answer to it. So they made us dumb us down to multiple choice. And then they made us get rid of it altogether. And then they made us dumb down it was just, and then we had to cut down the course from like 12 weeks, 6 weeks, cert 3, 6 weeks, cert 4, to like 6 weeks total. It was just like, so I got out. I was like, and for other various reasons, which are boring, we won't get into it, I was like, I'm out. And while I was teaching, I was starting to do more and more work with people, because, students would be like, oh, can you look at this knee, or I've got my mum's back is this, or, so I was building up clinically there, so I backed out of that. And it was a weird kind of organic transition out of kind of limbo where I was, where I had just turned my back on everything, gone mentally broken to it, to just having that passion, having that love for it again. And I think that's the thing. I couldn't, and it's the interesting thing with like mental stuff, I couldn't separate, I always had the passion for the athletes and for the work. I just couldn't separate that passion from the anxiety I had developed as a result of going through the academia. And it's just funny how it was then becoming the lecturer and running the academia that kind of got me over that. And then it just went from there.
Damn. That's cool.
Because now you own Start Training.
Yeah.
And that started how long ago?
Start 8 years ago. Start Training started as its own individual entity. It's gone through some interesting times. I set up another business which didn't go well. Actually, the business went really well. The relationship with the person that I set it up with didn't go well. To be honest with you, for a large reason, my own personal, like I allowed things to happen that I shouldn't have.
In that other relationship? In that,
yeah. So, and a lot of it comes from, I think a lot of it comes from a place of either confidence in yourself or a lack of confidence in your ability. Do you know what I mean? So I just didn't have the confidence to set the business up on my own. Do you know what I mean? Like I was supremely confident in my skills. I just figured I was a shit business owner because it's just not something that I can think about. Like, fuck, you've seen me work with social media. Like this, it's so bad.
It's so bad.
But this is it. Like, and nowadays business is so reliant on social media. Thank God I have guys in the clinic that are fucking amazing at it. So anything you see from Start Training on social media, it's not me. It's them. They get 100% of the credit. Trust me, it's not me.
I just want to interject and quickly say he got a message on Instagram the other day and was like, what the fuck is this?
What's this little number?
Yeah, he's like, give it to someone else.
I thought it was like, the way you get spam? Or you get somebody kind of giving, and you're like, oh. So I 100% didn't know you could message through Instagram. Did not know. Didn't know. So I got a private message on Instagram, and I let it sit there for 2 days because I thought it was spam, and I'd open it and the Russians would break into my account and steal all my money or something. I'm sitting there going, So 2 days it sat there. And then I went up to one of the ex-phys that works for me, Will, who I generally refer to when it comes to anything technical and electrical. And I was like, mate, just do something with this. I know what it was. So it turned out to be a woman from America who had seen some work I had done with another person for a neurological condition, foot drop. And she wanted to get hold of me because she saw this video. So I'd done some work with another woman 4 years ago now, 3 years ago at the time, who had an accident, had foot drop. And so it's basically, foot drop is that inability to kind of raise your foot or point your foot when you walk. It just kind of flaps in the wind as you lift your leg. So I worked with her and we managed to get her walking. And, neurosurgeon said she'd never walk again. And then she walked into the neurosurgeon. She didn't need to. She didn't have an appointment. She just made an appointment just so she could walk into this neurosurgeon. Yes. So this woman in Ohio saw the video. Because this girl, again, I'm shit at self-promotion. I didn't put it up there and go, look at me, I'm amazing. She posted the video of what I did for her. This woman saw it, messaged me. I let it sit there for 2 days because I thought it was the Russians trying to break into my account. Got Will. Will got onto her, messaged her, and was like, he was like, no, this woman wants to talk to you. And I was like, yeah, fine, we'll organise Skype. And as Brando will recognise, and as you saw in the epic training day, like I just, once I start, it just, blah, everything comes out. So I've Skyped this woman. She said hi, and then that was it for an hour. I just kind of went. And I was like, have they done, so anyway, what happened is she had a surgery. Straight after the surgery, her right leg was numb. She couldn't use it. That went away, but like 4 weeks later, her left foot, she developed foot drop. She couldn't move her foot. So she had 13 specialists see her, surgeons, orthopedics, so on, neurosurgeons, and they all said she'd never walk properly again. She would have to be in a brace for the rest of her life and use a cane. Now, she was young. I think she was early 50s at the time, maybe late 40s. So they said, like, one specialist wanted to remove her piriformis muscle.
What?
I know, yeah. That was I was like, we'll leave that on the bottom of the list. Let's not remove it, but we'll just we'll put this down here. So 13 specialists said she'd never walk again. It would never work. Now, I will say at this point, like, there are different types of foot drop. There are some that you just can't fix, but some can be functional related. So this woman got onto me. So we did a Skype chat, and I just like blabbed for an hour. I was like, oh, have they tried this? Have they looked at this? Who's doing this? You know, have they tried? They should be doing this. You know, your physio should do this while this person does this. And she's just like, I've had none of this. No one's told me any of this. And I was like, okay, just find somebody to do this. She goes, I just think I need to see you. So she hung up, booked a flight, and flew to Australia 3 weeks later.
No way.
Yeah. So she flew over for a week. And it was awesome. It was amazing. So we worked on her. She got into the clinic on Monday, and she is the fucking most amazing chick. She was just the energy. She was just such a quality human being. You know, her and her niece. And so we started with her Monday. By Wednesday, we had her out of the brace. By Friday, she was walking, and she was fine. By Saturday, she sent us a video of her walking through the airport. Like they told her she'd never walk again without the brace, and she's now walked. I think she was in LAX, and she sent us a video of her walking the whole length of it, which is like 5 American football fields long. You know what I mean? And she's gone from strength to strength. She sends us videos all the time. She sends us videos of her box jumping and her walking around in heels. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, she was awesome. She was quality. But yeah, I thought she was the Russians.
Did you tell her that?
No. So this is the extent of my ability on social media. So, you know, when we look at it, and I think that was my problem. I had a huge confidence issue about my ability to run a business, not about my ability. So Start was always there for about eight years. And so yeah, this other business, this other relationship, like a lot of it ended, I think, you know, I've got to take responsibility for it as well. Like I allowed things to happen out of kind of fear for myself and out of fear, kind of like, oh, I'm not good enough to run a business. I need a business partner. So I'll put up with unacceptable behaviors and I'll put up with certain things. But I look back now and I'm actually really thankful for that experience. It was a fucked experience at the time. But when I got out of it, I was like, I can run my own business. I'm ready to go. So because
you pretty much walked, like you owned a percentage of the business and then just
I walked out.
Washed your hands with it and just
100%.
headed out.
About 80 grand.
Didn't want to
just
send.
left.
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
In an hour.
That's right. You had the meeting, sat down, like, nah, I'm out. Bye.
Yeah. So I'd been working there for 2-3 years. A lot of stuff had built. The last year, there was a lot of stuff. Responsibility on my shoulders for a lot of it. Came to a head, and I was like, fucking, I'm out. In an hour. Just yours. It was about 80 grand. And it was, yeah. I said, it's yours. I don't want anything. I don't want buyout. I don't want my investment returned. It's yours.
And then you were just like, I'm going to start, or Start had already been something in the background?
So Start had always been running.
Yeah.
Like I was always passionate about, kind of, I guess deep down I always knew, you know what I mean, that it was there. I just never had the confidence to really give it its own life. But when I did, like I walked out Friday, I'm like, fuck, shit. And then Monday, turned up to work Monday. By Friday, I was full. You know, and I think that was the thing. Like, it's my reputation was there, but a lack of confidence never allowed me to truly
really
push and explore it. So, you know, in 5 years, probably 5 years, in a 5-year period of time, we've gone from just me doing fucking everything, which is hilarious. Like all of the bookings, all of all of the admin.
Fuck.
Yeah, you've been to my clinic. You've talked to my admin team. They are just like, don't let Paul near the computer.
Yeah, no. If I need
Like,
something
there's
from you,
fear.
I literally just
Yeah.
go to Michelle.
Yeah. There's fear. Like I walk behind reception counter, and there's fear
What are you doing
in
here?
everybody's face, going, "Don't let him touch it. Whatever happens, don't let him go near fucking anything." And so I was doing all of it, and yes, in a 4 or 5 year time, I grew. Sammy was the first. So Sammy is amazing. Like I can't give...
Clinician Sammy.
Yeah, clinician Sammy.
Yes.
Sammy's
Not athlete
amazing.
Sammy.
No. You're having athlete Sammy and Lisa on soon, aren't you?
Yeah, we are.
It's the best.
It's going to be good.
Oh, they're great.
Well, they're like the triple jump and pole vaulters of powerlifting. If
Oh,
sick.
yeah.
like
You will
they're
love
our
them.
equivalents. They're our equivalents.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Yeah.
Sammy
Put
and
it,
you will get along.
I was going to say a detour again quickly because I know Johnny, you will appreciate this story. So Sammy, and she'll hate me for fucking saying this, and
Shout out
she
Sammy.
gives me shit all the time but it's awesome. A disclaimer first. Sammy, I'll finish my first story with Sammy. She was my first clinician to work with me, and so she was my prac student. She was one of my first ever prac students, and she's the only prac student that I've directly hired ever. Like, she was that good. You know, she was and is fucking amazing at what she does. Like 100%, one of the best, if not the best, clinical exercise physiologists I
She's
think
brilliant.
is out there.
She's absolutely
Yeah.
brilliant.
She is exceptional, but an amazing human being as well. Like, she was there right at the beginning when it was fucking me and her doing the sessions, doing the admin, vacuuming the place. And she was there beside me, fucking doing what was needed to be done to build it in. So not only is she an amazing clinician, she's a fucking amazing human being. She's
An amazing athlete.
technically an amazing athlete.
Technically.
Questionable. But she's actually not questionable from a mentality from an athlete, because she's exactly
She's
the
a
same as
fucking
every other
savage.
fucking elite athlete I've ever met. So the story comes. So Sammy, I love you, and that's why the disclaimer came in first. But so you will appreciate this when you're kind of going deload week, 1 RM every time, max lift. So she was on deload. I'm like, you are coming into comp, you are burnt, you're training a fuck ton, you need deloads. So she had a recovery row.
Recovery row.
Just recovery row. Roll the legs out, roll the body out, just flush the system. Yeah. She comes to me, sweating, red. She goes, "How was that recovery row?" It was good. It's good. Hey, what'd you do? Oh, I was fine. I only did 5K, but I managed to get it in under 21 minutes.
Yes.
Now, to put it into context, right? 21-minute 5K time trial is what you would expect from like a first 8 rower, at high school. We're talking kind of development Australian under 23 Australian rowers. Yeah. Like, you get an Australian under 23, they'll do that in probably 18, 19 minutes. Like, this is top elite. There's Sammy fucking recovery row.
Yes.
Under 21 minutes. It was 20 minutes something. Now she's more than welcome to counter that when she comes in, because I reckon it could have been faster. But this is athlete Sammy. They will be hilarious when the two of them are in here.
It's going to be the best. So we've got it like disclaimer, the hamstring story.
Oh, I'm not going to tell that one.
No, that's for them.
Yeah.
But when you hear this,
I think I've heard it.
I'm not sure, because it's amazing. But it all started with her being talked into a kettlebell goblet squat challenge at the gym she was at.
With a torn
Yeah. Like,
I still feel she tore it some way through it and kept going.
Yeah.
She doesn't. I do.
It was just the record was set by some dude, and she's like, fuck it. I'm
And
gonna
that's the
beat
point.
it.
It's some dude as well.
Yeah.
Like, not the female class is this. He's like, no, I want that.
I'll take
She
that
did.
one.
I want that one.
Me and athlete Sammy and athlete Brando get along real well. But
Yeah.
in our fields, we're great.
Yeah.
It's like you and deloading. It's exactly like you.
Deload good.
Great coach, athlete. I've described Johnny.
Yeah.
People ask me all the time, like, what's it like to coach Johnny? I'm like, look, the best way to describe it is you see a kid running around with scissors. Now, you don't want them to stop running around. You just want them to run less dangerously. So you just take the scissors off and give them something a little bit softer. Give them like a crayon or something. That's what coaching Johnny is like. He just runs with sharp scissors, and you just go like, no, I'll take the scissors. You keep running.
Hey, I've done nothing all week.
I like it.
It's driven me fucking mental this
You
week.
find nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't trained all week.
You
Since
trained
Monday.
on Monday with me.
Yeah, Monday.
Zero training.
Yeah, it's driven me zero.
You have never once. Chalk has not touched your body.
No, it's driving me
I don't believe you.
insane.
Weight belt has not been clipped around your waist.
Nothing. It's driven me mental all week. I really don't like it.
Okay, so for everyone listening, he competes tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a reason.
That's 6 days no lifting.
You should be fresh as fuck.
Yeah, we're coming in hot.
That's another tangent.
But so that was it. So then 5 years start. So Start grew from
Because now you're in a spot, you got your much bigger location in Stafford.
Yep.
Obviously based here in Brisbane. How many ex-phys now do you have on staff?
So we have 5 ex-phys. So 5 ex-phys, strength and conditioning specialist, and 2 physios.
And now a massage therapist as
And
well.
a massage therapist.
Yes. That's a huge...
Which is good. Yes.
Yeah, fucking definitely.
He's awesome as well. I've actually had massage with Fabian.
Yeah.
He's quality. He's good.
A little plug there.
Yeah.
Just,
But he is,
He
because
is.
like I hate soft massage. You know what I mean? Like I remember it was away about a year ago, 2 years ago, for our anniversary, and we were up in Millennium, me and Claudia, and we got those kind of mobile relaxation, couples massages come in, and 10 minutes in, I'm legitimately like, oh, can you just push here? Actually, that's good. Can you just go harder? Can you just elbow? Just fuck the hand, elbow in. Like, I just sit there. Actually, that's the point. Write that down. Ask Sammy about massages too. Yeah. I am 100%. If there's not a tear, if I'm not leaking from my eyes, then you're not going well enough. Like, I like to be in to work hard. And so I guess that's the good thing about Fabian. Like, he's got multiple speeds. He's not that kind of polish the skin guy, but he's not that guy that'll break your soul. A bit like me.
you don't break my soul. You build me up.
I do. It's character building, mate.
It is very
It
much
is
character
very
building.
character
So
building.
your facility is pretty much a one-stop shop now. You've
One-stop
got everything
shop.
covered now.
Yeah, we got everything in there. It's great.
And it's the best thing about you guys is like you have those multiple departments that you can refer back to and go, all right, look, you're doing really well here, but we need to see you for the physio to get some treatment, then come back to me.
Yeah.
Or-
And look, and that's the most important thing, and I think that comes maybe from my background and the degree that I did is, unless it's serious, and that's down to the clinician to decide, athletes need to train. And that was the point behind
And
my
that's the
degree.
best thing about you, though.
That was
Like-
the point behind my degree, was get the athletes training, keep them training. If you're an elite athlete, you can't have that time off. Like we get it all the time. Like I've got Com Games gymnasts who are looking to get to Olympics. I've got Olympic lifters that are hopefully qualifying for the Olympics. They're up for it. I've got top level athletes. And you turn around and going, okay, you've got this niggle, we're going to give you, 4 weeks off training. And you go, yeah, in 4 weeks off, it'll fix it. But, elite dancers are the number one as well. We've got a few from kind of expressions and stuff like that. Man, they've got 4 hours. They're like, I'm going back in 4 hours, whether you say so or not. Like, I need to be training. And you guys are the same. Yeah. Like, the clock keeps ticking, You've got guys, but you guys got guys competing or you're competing on the weekend. Like, that happens. I've put and it's not just a 12-week build-up. Like, these guys have put 6 months, 12 months into getting to this point. They're like, I am competing. This is happening. You know, my job is to make sure that you do it to the best of your ability and not fuck up and not make a problem. So yes, 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, there are situations where you go, man, I'm sorry, but Luke.
Yeah, Luke probably tears his quad. There's nothing you can do.
There's nothing you can do. But there are other situations where you're like, we can work around this. We can get you to a point where we can, you know
get you on the platform,
you
compete.
got
and then
Niall out there, prime example. Idiot.
Fucking dickhead.
So you must build some pretty close relationships with their coaches
100%.
and all that kind of
My
stuff.
mentality is, at all times, 99.99% of the time, the person continues with the coach, always. For a number of reasons. One, we'll vary or we'll alter things to make sure that they get to their comps. But what you've got to understand as well is a lot of what we work with, you know, there's what we call acute on chronic conditions. Like, a lot, to put it into context, I think it's less than 3% of elite athletes retire from their sport as a result of what they call a dramatic acute injury. I was playing rugby, somebody came in from the side, snapped my femur, I never played again. You got the Yowie, compound fracture of the femur, never played again. It's less than 3% of athletes retire because of that. 97% of athletes retire because of the sport. It wears you down. It breaks you down. There's no way you can do this. But you guys, powerlifting is the fucking perfect example of this, where in order to do those movements, the neurological or neuromuscular chain to do that movement will require, you know, a sequence of these muscles firing in this order. You keep doing squat, bench, deadlift. Those muscles are the ones that get strong. What happens is the auxiliary muscles behind that will get weak by association. It's not that they're weak, because I guarantee you, I could take any one of your top lifters and they'll have fucking hamstrings 4 times as strong as the average person. It's not about weak hamstrings. It's about weak relative hamstrings.
Yeah.
It's relative to quad strength, as an example. So the problem is what they get is what we call acute on chronic condition. So they've been lifting for so long that they develop this overdominance in this muscular, which affects the neuromuscular chain of recruitment of muscles. These are too strong, these are too weak, and it creates wear and tear. It's like that car with a shit wheel alignment. The harder you push it, the quicker you wear the tire out. So what we do, and what my role is to identify the weakness, the discrepancy within the chain. You know, this is your problem. This isn't what's engaging. And as a result, it's, you know, strong gets strong, weak keep getting weaker. And what it does is it, car with bad wheel alignment, pulls you aside, tire wears out eventually, you get a fucking puncture. This is what happens with the athletes. So what we got to do is our role is twofold. Number one role that we have is to give you guys an athlete that allows them to lift. Does that make sense? I mean, fuck my life. I cannot teach somebody to powerlift. Look at me. I'm 82, 84 kilos, and the fucking heaviest I've ever got under a bar in 3 years is about 60 kilos. Purely because my knees will turn to chalk from 32 years of rugby. Do you know what I mean? But my job is not to teach you to be a powerlifter. Like, it's not, I couldn't do it. You defer to the expert, which is you guys. But my job is to give you an athlete that you can turn into a powerlifter. My job is to make sure that everything is working, to make sure that everything is engaged and everything is in a position so that when you put them under the bar, the body is going to move in its most efficient manner, which is going to give you the maximum amount of force production, which is going to allow you to achieve the goals that you need. You know, the second thing, and this is why it is so important that when you are working with these acute on chronic conditions or these patterning issues or these muscle weakness issues, that they're continuously training with their athletes, is muscles never work in isolation. I can isolate a hamstring and I can get it to work, but they never work in isolation. They work as part of the chain. Yeah. So let's say, for example, and stabilizers are even worse. If you've got a stability problem, they're even worse because they don't fucking even work how they engage. I fire up a rotator cuff. That is not how you actually use a rotator cuff. Rotator cuffs are all stabilizers, create constant twitch contractions to oppose the shifting of the joints. Does that make sense? So if I'm pulling this way, it's going to twitch the other way to make sure that the joint stays solid. So if I'm doing isolative stabilizer work, because, right, your mid-min, we've got a couple of guys, of your guys, your mid-min's too weak because literally the weights you're lifting are so powerful that the body's like, you're too fucking small, I can't use you, I'm just going to power through with these. And then I do that for long enough that those muscles get so tight and so strong that they pull you out of position. Lisa is a perfect example. Yeah. So the problem is, eventually when those stabilizers fail, the whole structural stability of the joint fails, and that's when injuries start happening. So if they then come to me going, oh, your problem is your hip stabilizer, we need to work on that. If I now pull you away from training for 6 weeks, or don't lift for 6 weeks and pull you away, and do all this fucking clam work and all this monster work stuff, and I get engagement, it's beautiful, they work lovely, look at you, how amazing are you, your mid-mins are fucking lovely. They have no context. I now send it back to Johnny going, there you go, the fucking hip pain feels better, hook in, 2 weeks later she's fucked. Broken again. Why? Because the body has learned how to engage mid-min. It just has not learned how to engage mid-min. It hasn't taught it how to play nice with everything else. Does that make sense?
You take something in isolation, but then that thing has to work in a complex.
But nothing in sport, in any sport, but particularly with your guys, nothing is in isolation. The complex dynamic, like, I don't think people realize how complex the contraction, the movement is to bring about a squat. Like the recruitment order and the neurological recruitment pattern required to not just fire the right muscles in sequence, but also to fire them at the right intensities at the right time. It's huge. If you've got like a 5%, 10% offset between VM and mid-min at the bottom of your range when they should be firing as the prime movers, you get a 10% force discrepancy to that to rec fem, you'll never get out of the hole, ever. This is what you find with guys, and they'll get to 90, they'll get just below parallel, and they can't get depth into their squat, or they can't power out of it, and they're faulting their lifts and things like that. They can't get lockout at the top of it because of how they're compensating, because your body will always move how you ask it to move. The question is how does it do it? And this is where you see a lot of guys, and I'm sure you guys will see it, guys will go going, I don't know why, but I'm fucking struggling to get out of the hole. I can't push out of it. It's fucking, for some reason, it's just gone to shit, or I can't fucking hold it at the top range, or I can't lock out, or I keep failing, I keep faulting my lifts because of, as the weight gets to this point, So the key is to identify where that discrepancy happens, where that weakness, what is it? Is it Lisa's case with that VL-VM discrepancy at bottom range? So she couldn't fire it, so she was too rec fem dominant, hips coming over the knees, and then she was locking out that position. So I want to fix that. But if you're not squatting, you're not applying that. And if you don't apply it, you might as well just not do it. Now, if you're a 34-year-old accountant, take 6 weeks off, the pain will go away, 100%. Do these, probably stabilize yourself. You're not stressing the body, you're not stressing the muscles at a high enough rate to warrant it. Does that make sense? Like, 100%. You're not powering enough. You're driving a fucking V8 at 60 k's an hour. It's fine. It's not going to cause any problems. But when you look at top athletes, elite athletes, guys like the guys you work with, like, these are the Mustangs, these are the Ferraris, these are fucking driving at 200-300 k's an hour. The slightest thing, if you listen to any kind of elite athlete or elite coaches and stuff like that, they always talk about, we're looking for the 1%ers. It's the 1%ers. That's what that is. It's that identification as to where the break in the chain comes from. Do you know what I mean? You look at you fucking drive a Holden Barina down the road, and you can fucking throw a bucket of sand at it and it'll keep chugging along. You know what I mean? You get a grain of sand in a fucking Ferrari that shouldn't be there, the whole thing just goes to shit. Yeah. They're so finely engineered. Does that make sense? So, like, that's the big thing that we look for, and that's why my ethos is so much around keep you moving, keep you training, keep you with the coaches. Now, I may turn around and go, And Johnny may need to cover his ears, may need to deload a little bit. Maybe just work at 80%.
Whoa,
yeah, that's it. Maybe just 80%. You know,
For a single.
Just for a week.
Yeah,
just for a week.
Or a day.
Yeah, well, 3 hours. But you know, we may alter the program, but they need to be doing it. You know, you're an elite athlete.
But where does your understanding of that come from? Because I can't tell the amount of times I've walked out of, like, does it come from your education? Because I've walked out of many clinical practices because they've told me to stop training. It's like, get fucked. Like,
how frustrating is that?
And it's
or
the worst.
Your client goes to see someone who you didn't say, hey, you should see this person. They've already gone to that person, someone else. They're like, oh, they said don't train for a couple of weeks because my back's a bit sore.
Yeah.
And I think there's a massive misunderstanding, you know, I'm not in the clinical world, but to me from the outside looking in, it's like, you know, these people coming to you because they are competing, they need to be fixed to do this sport. Whereas they're like, nah, just stop completely. Like, how did you develop that? Is that from your background in athletic performance?
I think there's a lot of little, there's a lot of little things. As much as I bag the academia, and that's just my experience with it, it's so important. But there's such a thing. Like, I'll put it this way: it's academia, my sporting experience, and my clinical experience. Because we may go on tangents. You're going to have to pull me back to that, Brando. This is you now.
Nah, I love your tangents.
This is on you now. These are the 3 topics I need to cover. You're going to pull me into this.
I want to forget, so...
But...
No, it's your job.
Look, the academic side, you need it. You can't... But I think the problem is the theory to practice.
Yeah.
You cannot form a clinical reason or clinical reasoning without the academia behind you. But you also have to recognize that the theory is not the practical. A lot of the research that is done, and we need them, like these are guys in white coats far smarter than I to figure out fucking force power ratios and stuff like that. Yeah, force velocity ratios. But to do that, they come up with a theory. They go, I reckon that if this happens, if A happens, B happens. So in order to make sure that I'm right A to B, I have to control all variables. So they will, in a clinical setting, control all of the external variables from ambient temperature to food to stress levels to warm up to everything is controlled. Does that make sense? For that one assessment. And then I will test that. So, and I will find if A equals B. And they'll go, yes, A equals B. So then someone like me goes, great, A equals B. If I do this, I get this effect. The problem is, when that person comes to me, C, D, E, F, G, and H are also in the equation. Does that make sense? I have to account for those. So A equals B does not always equal A, does not always equal B. But what it does from that academic point of view is it gives you the starting point. Gives you a point to go, I reckon if I A equal B, I'll start there and I will manipulate around it and I will work around and I'll do this. The problem with universities is they don't have the time to teach you the clinical. They don't have the time to teach you the practical. There's so much theory. There is so much out there that you need to know to be able to be good in our field. That if they tried to teach you how to apply it, the courses would be 10 years long. Yeah? And that's just the reality of it. So I do this, and that's what I was teaching Tuesday. I was lecturing at UQ on Tuesday. So which is hilarious again. I lecture at university. How good. Only 22-year-old Paul could see 41-year-old Paul right now.
What would your high school teachers be saying now?
Oh, mate. My old man went into the high school about 8 years ago, not to aggressively, but he went into them and just took great pride in showing them where I was now. Just rocked up to the school, found a couple of the teachers and was like, just so you know.
He's actually really intelligent.
Brilliant. But so yeah, and it's hilarious. So I lecture at UQ and I do their clinical reasoning. So I do a guest lecture spot where I come in and that's my job, is to go, you know all this theory. And I do it all the time. I lecture to the fourth years and the master's students, and the first thing I turned around to them, I was going, right, in 4 months, I normally do it around the same time, it's just before they graduate. So in 4 months, you guys graduate. In 4 months, you're super intelligent and you're the expert, so you need to know the answers. So today, you're going to tell me. And they look at me. and I'm like, no, you no longer have the chance or the option to sit there silently. You have to have an opinion. So today we're going to go through case studies from my clinic. I'm going to put them up on the board. I'm going to give you the subjective testing. They come in, they go, my knee hurts, I don't know why it hurts, I started lifting 3 months ago, I'm an accountant, blah, blah, blah. All the stuff that people come in and tell you. So we're going to go through this, and you're going to tell me what you're going to do. And they sit there silently, and I'm just a wanker. Yes. I sit there and going, what do you reckon?
Yeah, you do.
And I go, I'm not sure. I said, no, it's not good enough. What do you reckon? I don't know. I said, you have to know. And they'll go, but I'm like, no. I said, this isn't being aggressive. I'm not being an asshole. Universities love me. I'm literally like, I'm not being an asshole. Bastion of education, UQ, the #1 university. I'm not being an asshole, and I'm like, you have to have an opinion. In 4 months' time, you're going to go into a clinic. Someone's going to sit in front of you, going, my knee hurts or my hip hurts. Prescribe me a program to make it better. You have to have an opinion. You have no choice. So, one of where it comes from is the academia. And as I said, I was not great at uni, but since uni, I've just devoured so much stuff. Do you know what I mean? So much literature and so much books and so much things that it gives you that baseline to be able to go. But you got to be really careful. You got to be really careful that you go, this isn't the answer. This is the baseline by which you form an opinion. Then you have to do your opinion. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
The other one, as to where I come up with is experience. Actually, before we get to experience, is my training. I've played sport. I've played sport since I was 6 years of age. I started playing rugby when I was 6 or 7. So I played rugby for about 32 years. I played all the way through school, went to university, played first 15s, North London universities, and I have fucking destroyed my body. And I honestly believe, now, disclaimer, I'm not telling people to go out and break yourself like I did to be good at what you do, but I have torn 5 of the 6 lateral ligaments in my ankle. I have no ACL in my right knee. I've torn the MCL. I've got a horizontal, longitudinal tear of my medial right meniscus. I've torn my right hamstring 4 times, my left hamstring 2 times. I've torn my grade 3 quad tear. I've snapped a ductor tendon off the bone. I have 2 bulging discs in my lower back. I had a 5-degree rotation in my L4, L5 rotation.
Sorry, you were going to play a game of rugby today before this?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's just
cool.
the lower limb. There's 4 broken ribs.
Oh, fuck.
4 broken ribs. Dislocated both shoulders, separated both AC joints, tore my acromioclavicular ligament in my right shoulder, tore my supraspinatus in my left shoulder. I've got a stressy in my stress fracture in my T8 vertebrae, compressed disc in my C3, C4 that happened in a ruck, just pancaked the disc completely. Broken my jaw twice, 4 major concussions, broken my nose 3 times. Yeah, it's
me. A well-used body.
So when people come in and they're going, oh, I've got this, funny you say that, so do I. But it's interesting because I think there's a certain amount of apathy that I have towards patients when they come in. I think there's a certain amount of recognition. And most importantly, I know what the body can do to get through it. Does that make sense? I know the positions, the movements. I know how much to be able to push that. And most importantly, because as much as I give Sammy shit, and me and Jonny are kindred spirits, I know how much not to push it because I have.
Yeah.
Do you know what I know the warning sign to when you're doing it wrong, to when you're going too much. So I can sit there with somebody and go, we're going to do this, but if you feel this, or if this is happening, if you notice this, back it off.
But that's the best thing, because like one of my favorite quotes is, you don't know what 10 out of 10 is until you go to 11.
Yes.
And like, you know, people will come in all
Johnny,
the time.
stop listening.
Yeah, you need to, like, you are a 12 at all times. But like that's the thing, you know, you go see all these clinicians, whatever the situation is. Fuck, I'm not just bag clinicians out, but they talk to you, and someone will come in within 8 out of 10. It takes a certain person to go, no, you're at a 6.
Yeah.
Let me show you what a 10 is.
Like I sit at a 4. And that's not a big thing. That's not a macho, like, look at me, I'm amazing, I put up with pain. But generally I sit at a 4 most days. Something hurts. Do you know what I mean? My back will hurt, my knees will hurt. But it's manageable and it's dealable and it's fine. It's not a woe with me. And I train. Like I train 4 times a week.
But, you know, with all your list of injuries, I think knee wraps, an equipped suit.
I wouldn't mind seeing me in a squat suit.
A squat suit would be great.
We'll start squat pot.
do it.
So can you, he said in.
Oh,
We're in.
yes.
Okay, no, but like...
Yeah, but
seriously.
you're also talking to the person who... I retired from rugby because my body was just fucking broken.
What were you going to play today?
He was going to play a game of rugby.
Oh. It's fine. It's fine. It's not real rugby. I retired from rugby because my body was broken, but I needed to train. So I decided to take up like that less contact, a bit softer, easier sport. So I took up boxing. Yeah. And this is why I can I can kind of take the piss out of you guys and I can take the piss out of Sammy, because I know I'm a hypocrite by doing it. Because my first fight that I had, so I had a fight, I planned on fighting this year, but the first fight that I had, I broke my jaw 2 weeks before the fight. But we didn't say anything.
Tell me you still fought.
Oh yeah.
Yes!
I fought for 2 rounds, a 3-round fight. I got clipped in the first 10 seconds of the first round. Like, gone. Jaw was fat. You know boxing, if you're looking much about it. So you get penalized. You'll get a standing warning for spitting your gum shield out.
Yeah.
Because it's a stalling tactic. Like, I'll spit my gum shield out because the fight stops, pick the gum shield up, wash it, put it in. It gives you 40 seconds, takes the heat out of a round, gives you a breather. Yeah? So I lost my gum shield twice in the second round. So I got a standing warning for spitting my gum shield out. I didn't tell the ref that I couldn't actually close my mouth. So my jaw was just locked, couldn't close my mouth. So every time he'd come in and I'd move my head with gum shield. But I'm an adult. I didn't answer the bell for the 3rd round. I only did 2 rounds. But yeah, 10 seconds into the first round, he clipped me, jaw was gone. Yeah. But the best thing about it was the week before we were doing sparring, and I was sparring with this guy who was a 98 kilo, so he's a heavyweight, but his experience wasn't to mine. So I was running around with him. I wasn't cocky in terms of just being an arrogant wanker, but I got a bit too confident because he hadn't the experience. So I was able to move around him, and so I've come in for this kind of a shift punch, where you jab, you shift feet, which should bring you past the length of their punch, so kind of just out past the wrist. So you're inside your guard, and then you can go to nuts. Yeah. So I'm like, I've got this guy, his experience isn't great, I'll do a shift just to practice. And it was sparring, so it was 80%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fucked it.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. I fucked the shift. And I fucked it so bad that where I should have ended, my face should have been here.
Yeah.
My face was there. So I copped a full straight from a 98 kilo heavyweight
with you moving
straight
into
to
it.
the face.
You
With me moving into it.
What's it?
Blood everywhere. So we're like, right, the nose is broken. It's a week before the fight. Like, it's been promoted. It's happening. Like, so we're standing in the ring figuring out how we can sort this out. Because we're not calling the fight, but to get in there. Because I'm just going to get an angel tap and the fight will be over. Like, angel tap, he'll barely, the wind as his punch goes past me will like just start my nose again. But I'm like, that's okay. We just can't tell the guy that the fight's not on because I broke it fucking a week before the fight.
Fuck.
So I feel I'm allowed to take the piss out of you guys because I'm just as bad. But my point is that, do you know what I mean? Like, I have a certain understanding of where it needs to be and of what you can do, but most importantly, what you need to back away from when you feel it. And then the last bit is experience, like 16, 17 years of doing this. Like, never underestimate experience, because I guess it's what I say this all the time. I say this to my guys all the time, but in life in general, I like never be afraid to fail at stuff. It's where you learn. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, so I've tried things and I've worked with things. Like, there's no right and wrong in what we do. There's just better and worse. It's a human body. You can't pop the hood, have a look inside, and go, it's exactly this, change the spark plug. So it's best guess. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So there's no right and wrong. So there's just better and fucking worst options. So over time, you fuck up and you make mistakes, but you learn from them, and that's the failure. Do you know what I mean? So you just gotta.
100%.
So that's it. They're the three reasons.
Even with those reasons, and we had another question I want to ask about, like, you have such an understanding of our sport, and as you said before, it's quite intrinsic, I think would be the best word. You know, it's very, there's a lot more to it than what people see. But you have such a knowledge of all sports, how things move in those sports. Where the fuck does that come from?
I don't know. It just makes sense. Movement makes sense.
Do you think it's like part of the dyslexia, the way you see things?
It's like I was saying, fucking about 3.5 days ago when we started. It makes sense. I don't know why. I mean, I've never been involved. I've never been involved in powerlifting. I've never competed powerlifting. I've never tried powerlifting.
Until this, we
go single play.
Well, obviously, and then we're into it.
Yeah.
And then we're balls deep.
You don't understand. You're all in now.
Yeah, it's good.
Perfect.
Okay.
I'm thinking about going single play after Worlds. Well,
that's in October. Got a little bit of movement in my pants.
Yeah, we'll just do it.
This is amazing.
Yeah, but
Sammy's coming too.
Yeah,
this is so exciting.
She'll want to go single play.
Sammy's he's given her the tick to allow me to coach her after this. It's on.
Yeah, I think so.
She squatted 160 high bar for 10,
Clean
completely
skin.
raw, just out of that.
Whoa,
I love
we need
her.
to get a squat suit on that.
No, I want to see her raw.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but,
again.
And I think it is. I think it's like what we're talking about with that, the engine and the parts. Like, I can't explain it. I don't know. It just makes sense. You come in and you talk about this, and I'm like, that's your problem.
Yeah, you're brilliant at it, and then you hum in between.
Yeah, I do hum. Yeah. But that's more for you.
Have you ever watched the powerlifting comp?
No, I can't wait for Pro Raw. It's gonna be
That was
fucking
that
epic.
question. How are you excited?
Oh, I am at 11. I am pumped. It's going to be.
I know someone in Melbourne who's also very excited to see you. Gwaine is. He's very excited.
Yeah. My spirit animal, Quain, I think.
Well, we're aiming to get you both on the podcast at once.
Fuck, do we have a week?
No,
You get a whole night.
I'm keen. I mean,
like,
It's gonna be sick.
They literally spoke for 40 minutes. We had lunch at the Epic Day, and it went from a topic. We started with the fight there was the Conor McGregor Cowboy fight the next day.
Yeah.
It went from that to the privileged culture of athletes.
yeah.
And then the only reason it didn't keep going was because I was like, Gwaine, you have to present
You
now.
need to start talking.
Yes, now. It's insane. But Pro Raw weekend, it's going to be sick. 3 days.
To see some
I am
crazy shit.
100%, and not saying it because I'm here, but I'm fucking pumped. I reckon it's going to be epic. I love athletes, first and foremost. It doesn't matter what sport you do.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? You have to have that appreciation for that athlete. Like, what were you guys saying when you were talking to Scott? Like, there's that step up. There's the commercial gym, just trained, whatever. But when you step up to that athlete level, like
That's the thing. Across any sport, like if you're passionate and like you're an elite, like if you fucking go ham on chess, let's talk about
You'll
that.
get to see some crazy sports down at just the Arnold's itself.
Yeah, man, I'm fucking.
I'm really
Let's go
scared
watch.
though.
I want to get behind some cup stacking again.
Cup stacking's cool, but I'm really scared to put Paul near the medieval fighting.
Oh yeah, Johnny, you know me and you. You know
we can
you
get
want
around that.
You know you want a shield and a mace, and we'll just go fucking
and a
nuts.
fucking sword.
Yeah.
This is why I'm scared to have
And
you
we're
together.
going nuts. Yeah.
But it's gonna be cool because you're coming down. Obviously, our relationship has developed, and you pretty much fucking look after everyone from Team Epic and a few from Johnny's as well.
Yeah.
And so you're coming down to help out, watch the guys,
it's
support
gonna
them,
be
and
awesome.
then also if they need it, you are Irish Jesus.
Do what we need to do.
Exactly. So it's gonna be a fucking sick weekend.
Yeah, man. I am pumped. I'm 100% pumped. I've never seen it. It's gonna be fucking insane.
I love that Pro Raw was your first one too. Like it's
Damn.
and then I think we should rope you.
Yeah, we're not here to fuck spiders. We
He
just go
should
straight
really
in.
do your deadlift comp at the end of the year.
You should definitely do our deadlift comp at the end of the year in a single play deadlift suit.
Sure.
Oh, jeez, I love this.
Sure.
But anyways, before we wrap up, we have
Some very important questions.
Great.
Now, these are the questions that will change your life.
Okay, good.
Yep. Or other people's lives. They are
Quick questions. Quick fire.
very
first thing
quick
to my head.
questions.
Done.
It's the first thing that comes
First
into your
thing.
head. And
This is going to be terrifying.
Favourite colour?
Blue.
Everyone likes blue.
He's wearing all
Because
blue.
I'm watching you. It's blue shirt.
Favourite movie?
Fuck. Star Wars.
Which one?
All of them.
Done.
Wait, do you like Top Gun?
I love Top Gun.
Oh, you
Can I just say, actually, I put that reference, Top Gun reference, when we had that group about when I was like, yeah, I'm coming out of Pro Raw. No one jumped on it. I was like, I felt disappointed.
You can come to our private screening of Top Gun
I've
2
told
when
them
it comes
about
out. Yeah.
Yes, I'm in.
We're going to do a 10-question questionnaire that everyone has to fill out to be allowed to come in.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And they got to get 10.
They have to get 10. Just to weed out the ones that aren't real.
Yeah. Pattern was clear.
If you could have dinner with anyone, who would it be?
See, I've heard you ask these questions, and I fucking thought about it. I would love to sit with someone like Russell Brand, who's in Brisbane at the moment.
Yeah.
The man just thinks over here somewhere. Just really, really,
Russell Brand, if you're listening.
really different. The Prince EA guy, have you seen him on social media, Facebook? He's like a new age philosopher. Awesome. Love the way he just views the world. Just so different. So super interesting. Yeah, somebody different. Somebody who thinks different to me. Find it super interesting.
Cool.
Gawain, obviously.
Well, we already know the answer to this next question then.
Gawain.
What is or who is your spirit animal?
Gawain.
Okay. We'll organise dinner with you and Gawain down there, and then we'll take
You guys can have your own table.
Yeah.
Favourite food?
Italian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you rather look like a potato or feel like a potato?
Feel like a potato.
Favourite superhero?
Oh. Do Jedi count?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan.
Oh, good pick. Even I know that one.
Do you believe in Santa?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
You two are convinced.
Absolutely.
Do you cry in the movies?
Yes.
What was the last movie you cried
Oh, I can't remember which one it was, but it's. Do you know what gets me? Is those fucking feel good, touch you in the feels sports movies. When the underdog comes, I'm like, fuck this.
in? I recently... what was that fuck... it's with Matthew McConaughey. All the football team dies.
Yes. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't remember the name. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
But it's like shit. Like any given any given Sunday, that fucking Pacino speech.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm ready to go. Like
Put me in, coach.
I'm storming out of the lounge room, going to hit something.
Coach Carter? Oh,
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
what's that fucking movie?
Yeah. I have zero issue whatsoever crying when I get hit in the fields.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's one thing you do now that no one knows that can make you famous?
Well, it's the chefing. You've
Yeah.
already thrown that out there.
Can you make us something?
Yeah.
Sandwiches, and we'll put you in a single
I
pie
want this
suit.
sandwich.
Yeah, no,
I'll
fucking
make a
sounds
sandwich.
Yeah, pro roll. Let's have a sandwich.
All right, done. Done.
Did
Done.
we go to Meatco last time?
We ate somewhere,
No,
and there
no.
was meat.
No, we went to that burger place.
No, we went to a meat place. I had a steak.
We did.
We did, yes. It's on the water.
Yeah.
We went there.
Oh, fuck, we got to take you there.
Done.
Okay, Gawain, you're coming.
Good.
Was that the...
That's it.
Yeah. But it'll be good because Claudia and Bella are coming. It's going to be hilarious. Can't wait for Claudia to meet some of these people. My wife, for those that don't know, is 5 foot and about 52 kilos. It's going to be hilarious, her beside like Luke and Kane.
Yes.
I want to see this photo. It'll
That's
be
right.
amazing.
Perfect.
Oh, mate, thank you so much for the afternoon,
The
the
day.
week, the day we just spent.
It's just a quick one.
It was, yeah.
This was a quick one for actually Paul. I was really scared we'd be here till
How long did we go?
Well, we started
Do
about
I hold the
2:15.
record?
Yes.
You are the fucking PB.
Not that I'm competitive, but fuck yes.
We just broke it with Scott. Like, that was our longest one we just released.
Yeah.
And now, I was like, I knew this was going to be the longest. Like, we're just under 2 hours now.
Oh, how long under 2 hours?
Niall, now, how long after under 2 hours? Oh, what?
Next
Really?
time.
Next
Niall.
time.
Oh, well, we take into account that Niall fucked up the intro.
Oh, no.
I also want to point out, just before we finish up, when I called Niall a dickhead in this thing, there is context. So recently, Niall messaged me on. I bet he's going to stop recording right now.
And cut.
Yeah. So Niall messaged me last Sunday, 2 weeks out from GPC States, and goes, So I've got this like really bad glute pain right now. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, let's deal with this. When did it start? 2 months ago. And I'm like, you're a fucking dickhead. That was my response. If you like ask him, I was like, you're a dickhead. I told Paul, send him to Paul. I was like, call him an idiot.
Which I did.
The first thing was like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
So, and
we still love you, no.
On that note, it's about clear communication between coach and client. That's the point I was making by telling that story, not just to rag Niall.
Poor Niall.
He's right.
You'll be fine.
But anyways, thank you so much.
Do we find him on social media?
Yes.
He
He
doesn't know what it is.
You might have to put the link up.
I'll put the links in the show notes.
It
But
is.
if you want to find him, it's at Start
Training.
Start_training on Instagram, Start Training on Facebook, or you'll probably be able to find them through our Instagrams. I'll put up the clinic email as well if they want to get in contact.
Beautiful.
Too easy. Thank you so much. You're amazing.
Pleasure.
You're amazing.
You're amazing.
No, let's not
All
start
of you are
this.
amazing. Oh,
Get it! We are the best.
You're the best.